Assalamualaikum, Shaykh.
Hey,
how you doing, Shaykh?
Alhamdulillah. How are you
Good,
doing?
Alhamdulillah.
Good to see you.
What are you doing here?
I'm looking for some coffee. I was reflecting. Yeah,
Okay. Can I ask you a few questions from you? Just a
absolutely.
little bit question, probably.
Bismillah.
Bismillah, let's go. All right, Shaykh. Okay, before I ask so many questions.
Okay.
What does the
Oh, you're
new-
planning to ask so many questions.
Yeah.
All right, let's go.
It's gonna have to
Bismillah.
be a rapid question with this time.
Okay. Bismillah.
Okay. Shaykh, tell us, what does the new Hijri year personally mean to you?
All right. It marks the beginning of one of the sacred months of Allah Subhanahu wa Taala, the month of Muharram, where the Prophet ﷺ encouraged fasting during, the 9th, 10th, and 11th of that particular month. And if you are unable, at least the day of Ashura, which is so essential in Islam. Yeah. So it means escalating the doses of ibadah. Yes.
Inshallah. Are you ready, Shaykh, with the question?
Oh, already?
Yeah.
Bismillah, bring it on.
Okay, this is going to be about love, marriage, and family.
Sweet. Okay.
All right, the first question, Shaykh.
Bismillah.
What's your go-to dua when the new year begins?
So I assume that with the beginning of every month, we see the crescent of that particular month. So the Prophet ﷺ taught us the dua, that, oh Allah, bring that month with blessings and iman and safety and Islam. My Lord and your Lord is Allah. So when you see the hilal or the crescent, you say the dua.
Inshallah. What's one sunnah habit you're reciting in New Year? You're resetting in New Year.
I'm resetting in New Year to greet everyone that I know and everyone that I don't know.
Oh, wow. Is love at first sight real or Netflix?
A bit of both.
Oh, okay. Do you remember the moment you knew you wanted to get married?
Yes, of course.
Can you tell me a little bit? Tell me what is the moment you knew?
What is the moment
When
I
you
knew?
knew that you want to get married?
When I realized that my current wife, alhamdulillah, is super honest. Very honest.
Who said I love you first?
Of course, me.
Oh, wow. What's the most underrated romantic gesture in Islam?
To place a morsel of food in the mouth of your wife, or vice versa.
Okay.
And this is one of the best sadaqah, by the way.
Wow. How did you propose? Was it romantic or awkward?
It was straightforward.
Any clues?
Straightforward, brother.
You want to marry me straight away?
Straightforward, Habibi. No going around the bush.
MashaAllah, great. Can a spouse be your best friend? Or is that just Instagram talk?
Husbands have roles that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through His messengers specified. Women, wives have different roles. Friends are on a different spectrum.
What small things your spouse does that makes your whole day better?
Supply me with coffee throughout the day.
Oh, that's so specific. Yeah. Okay. Last one before we go in, Shaykh.
All right.
What's one sunnah couples forget to practice at home?
I think praying together.
So simple.
Or maybe better, because you mentioned sunnah, the word sunnah, making dua for each other.
Yep. Let's go inside. Let's get
Bismillah.
your coffee.
Oh, mashallah, tabarakallah.
All right. Is there such thing as a perfect spouse?
Perfection is belong to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone.
Okay, that's perfect question, perfect answer. What's the first advice you give to newlyweds starting this year for newlyweds?
Whether this year, with the start of this year, in the middle of this year, or any other time, the ultimate advice perhaps I'll give to any newly wedded individuals is to be patient and swallow your ego.
One sunnah that strengthens emotional intimacy in marriage.
Being playful at home. Like, the Prophet ﷺ used to race with his wife. And that's why there was a very, very strong bond between both of them.
You need to start a lot of games at home. All right. How do you handle conflict in marriage without it turning into World War III?
Allahu Akbar. By listening to each other. Don't talk over each other. Try to put yourself in the shoe of the other person.
That's good. What should never be said during an argument?
The word never and the word always. Like you never did this or that, or you always do this and this.
That's the most favorite words. Inshallah. All right. Is love more important than respect in a marriage?
Love doesn't exist without respect.
True. What's the role of patience when love gets tested?
It is the ultimate pillar that sustains marriage.
Yeah, but when you get tested, it's
But that's you said the role of patience. So the role of patience is that it is the ultimate pillar that will actually build up or sustain this relationship.
sure.
If you don't exercise patience during these testing times, then the house might crumble.
Yes. Can you fall back in love with your spouse every year?
Brother, my back hurt enough. I wanted to avoid falling, inshallah.
All right. What's the difference between halal flirting and being annoying?
Halal what?
Flirting.
Halal flirting.
Yeah. I don't know. Is that a new word?
I don't know why halal flirting is mentioned when we're talking about spouses who are supposedly lawfully married.
Yeah.
But the Prophet ﷺ said exchanging sweet words, even though maybe exaggerating sweet words between spouses, there is no lie in such a situation. So if that's what you mean by halal flirting, then go for it, but avoid anything that may cause harm or discomfort to your partner.
Okay. And what's your advice to someone still single at the start of the new year?
If you're capable, if you're able to get married, go and get married quickly. Don't think too much. If you're able, if you're capable, the Prophet ﷺ said, Ya ma'ashar al-shabab, O young people, man istata'a minkum al-ba'ata falyatazawwaj. Whoever amongst you is capable and able to get married, then go and get married. And if you can't, for whatever reason, then exercise fasting. Because it protects your gaze and also your private part.
Wow. Oh, that's a good one. Are you looking for something?
I will look for the books later, but I'm more interested in the products. You know, like I think this is soap, cinnamon. Allahu Akbar. My wife would love that. So inshallah, we'll grab a few things from here, inshallah, before we leave. Barakallahu feekum.
Sure, I got some question about family, parenthood, and togetherness.
Anything for you, brother?
Inshallah. Okay. Right. Okay. What's one dua every parent should teach their kids?
I think it is important to teach them one of the most frequent dua that the Prophet ﷺ used to recite. Allahumma ya muqallib al-qulub, thabbit qalbi ala dinik. O turner of the hearts, O Allah who turned the hearts upside down, strengthen our hearts upon your deen, upon your religion.
Inshallah. What's harder, raising kids or raising yourself first?
If you don't work on yourself, if you don't raise yourself up Islamically, spiritually, you won't be able to raise anything up.
What if we already have kids, but we are
so you have to be an example. You see, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the Quran, نحن نكتب ما قدموا وآثارهم وكل شيء أحصيناه في إمام مبين. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is writing everything that we do, and also the athar or the influences that we will leave behind. And of course, the closest to us that we will influence are our children. So if you influence them positively, congratulations. But how about the opposite? So you have to be a role model first to bring that influence into your family.
Sure. How do you bring barakah into your home in the new year?
By becoming content with whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has blessed you with.
In anything, right?
Anything, whatever Allah gave, alhamdulillah, it's the best.
Okay. What's the balance between being a parent and a friend?
A parent will exercise his role as a protector of the family. A friend will let go of some essential mistakes.
Oh, that's a clear one. Inshallah. Okay, best advice for dads trying to connect with their daughters.
Apologize when you make a mistake. Don't.
Is it specifically for daughters?
For your children. Like if you realize that you've done something wrong, don't let your ego stop you from apologizing. They will respect you, and in the future they will actually follow your lead. But if you become an arrogant father, even though you have made a mistake, then they will do the wrong again, and you will not even know about it.
Sure. Okay. Okay, one Sunnah tradition every family should revive in this year.
I think I always refer to worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala together, praying together, reading Quran, your daily word or your daily portion of the Quran. Instead of everyone do it on their own, gather together, do a halaqah after one of your prayers, and worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala together. That increases the love and the bond between family members.
That's a great event, a family event for the year. Cool. How do you deal with a rebellious teen Islamically?
Back in the days, it was the hand speaks. Now I think conversations, educations, and dua.
Yeah.
So during the day, educate and converse. And during the night, raise up your hands in dua and ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to guide them.
So no raising a hand for that to them?
No, raise your hands, but
differently.
don't let it land somewhere.
Inshallah. Okay, what's one Quranic parenting lesson you live by?
I think the entire surah of Luqman and how Luqman was giving advice to his son. I think every parent should review this surah and go and read it after listening to this conversation and see how Luqman, the wise, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made him Hakim, a very wise man, was dealing with his son and how he was advising him and directing him to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and to avoid shirk and so on. So these are the ayat pertaining to parenting in Islam that I found them to be very, very powerful.
There must be a reason why a normal person been mentioned in Quran.
Yes. Yeah. Not a prophet, not a messenger.
Yeah. Inshallah. What's the ethic of disagreement in a family setting?
An ethic?
When you are not agreeing with anybody, what is the ethic to say, I don't agree?
What is the ethic? I think first of all, as I mentioned earlier, we have to listen to each other. So when somebody is talking, give yourself a space to listen and give them a space to speak so you can understand better where they're coming from. So this is one of the ethics that is almost absent when couples get into agreement, because everyone wanted to be heard. But what is the ethic that we should exercise during agreement when the heat is there? I think one of the partners need to leave and need to take a corner, because if we keep going at each other, then the World War III that you talked about will be waged. So may Allah protect us. Yeah. I think somebody should wait for the other partner to be cooled a bit. Yeah.
I think that is a new exercise now.
Yeah, we look into the seerah of the companions who were very, very rough and tough, and we see some of these moments. The wives of the Prophet ﷺ would react sometimes angrily, throw the food, and the Prophet ﷺ would just smile and will address other people. He will not address the wife in front of the people and make a big scene. Rather, he will address the people and he will say, for example, about Aisha radiallahu anha ardaha, she became a little bit jealous. So excuse her anger or excuse her jealousy. See, he will not attack his wife in front of the people because she made a mistake, for example. So we need to learn from these little nuggets of the seerah.
It's a small gesture, but means a lot.
Yeah.
What's the secret to be peaceful at home?
Look, brother, if you are referring to total peace at home between husband, wife, children, all that would never happen, Habibi. If you have young kids jumping up and down you as a husband, you as a wife will react, and sometimes we react angrily. So if you're referring to peace from that perspective, no, it's never going to happen. All right, don't be afraid of marriage, guys. But if you're referring to dealing with these situations in a more wise manner, yes, we can. How? By making the leader of the house, and that's the man. As soon as you realize that this is going to a dead end, this fight or this disagreement is going to a dead end, to cool down, to stop talking, and wait for the wife, for example, to maintain her cool, and then go and try to discuss it, in a decent manner. I know that it's easier said than done, but I always say it's not impossible. It could happen, but peace on earth, total peace, in our homes, it's never going to happen.
It's
Sorry,
impossible.
guys. So it is actually meant this way. Like, subhanAllah, it is meant to enter Jannah
That's the
through
color.
hell. Yani, on the day of judgment, we will walk through the As-Sirat al-Mustaqim that's leading to Jannah. But underneath is what? Is hell. So in order for you to get to Jannah, you have to pass through hell. So this is a very testing time. And also marriage itself is a lifelong worship that would lead you to Jannah. So all these testing moments will come your way. So you have to deal with it with wisdom and with coolness. And if you make mistakes, that's again, we're coming back to the same thing, ego.
True.
If you realize you're wrong, apologize.
Bismillah. Okay. Can a broken marriage be healed? Truly?
Absolutely. And I, being a counselor myself, I've seen that time and time again. They will come with the completely different ideas about how their life is going to look like in the future, meaning divorce, separation, and they will walk out after a couple of sessions, alhamdulillah, knowing that things can work out.
Is there any cannot work out that actually become like haram to be together?
Of course, there are situations in which maybe traumatic experience will prevent the wife from making a resolve, or the husband. And in those situations, divorce will be the only option. May Allah protect us.
What is the Islamic way to say, I forgive you, and mean it?
And
mean it.
And mean it. Say, I forgive you, and make dua for your partner that you have forgiven. To mean it means to make dua for them sincerely. But if you say this, I forgive you, and give a different facial expression, and I forgive you, but wait, I'm coming back at you now.
Inshallah. Right. How do you handle a family betrayal with Islamic maturity?
Depends on what type of betrayal are you talking about, brother. There are certain things that are unforgivable. There are things that can be, forgotten. So depending really on what you are referring to.
How do you one dua to heal a heart that loved and lost?
I think anyone who is experiencing distress in his life, the Prophet ﷺ taught us one of the most beautiful dua that everyone should learn it, because he said so. Like he said, anyone who heard that dua must recite it, meaning must memorize it, must continuously recite it. And that is, Allahumma inni abduk, oh Allah, I am your slave. Wabnu abdik, and the son of your male slave, meaning my father is a slave. Wabnu amatik, and the son of your female slave. My mother also is a slave. This is an acknowledgement of who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is first. Nasiyati biyadik, my destiny is in your hand. Madin fiyya hukmuk, your judgment upon me is going to pass. Adlun fiyya qada'uk, anything that you judge or you make a verdict against me or about me is fair and just, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not cause any injustice in the least. As'aluka bi kulli ismin huwa lak, I ask you by every name that you have named yourself with, or you have taught it to any of your slaves, or you have revealed it in the book, meaning the Quran, or you have kept it hidden in the world of the unseen with you, and taj'al al-Qur'ana rabi'a qalbi, to make the Quran the spring of my life and the repeller or the reliever of my distress and anxiety. So this dua, the Prophet ﷺ, when he taught it to his companions, he say, anyone who heard it must learn. So this is a message to everyone, to perhaps who didn't know this dua before, to go and search it. Oh Allah, I am your slave. Search it, download it, memorize it, share it with others, because it really relieves the distress.
You're gonna do now. You have to learn now. All right. When is it okay to walk away from toxic family tie?
When the toxicity is big enough that has impacted you to practice your faith. So if you cannot practice Islam anymore in any environment, you should walk away and do hijrah.
What's your advice for people struggling with in-laws?
Don't outlaw them, but keep a distance.
That's great. That's great. How do you protect your heart from bitterness after heartbreak?
Take honey or dates. Bitterness will disappear, inshallah.
Okay. What's the best way to move on from an engagement that didn't work out?
Moving on from an engagement that didn't work out, move on. Well, what do you want to do?
Yeah, what else?
You want to get stuck? Like, there are other sisters. Do you know how many single sisters in Malaysia? like, or anywhere else.
Yeah.
If something didn't work out, you will find someone else, inshallah.
Well, should love feels like ease or effort?
It should feel like ease, and it requires effort to be maintained.
Okay. How do you know if you are marrying the right person?
How do you know that you're marrying the right person? You will never know that unless you marry them and live with them, and yeah. But there are of course there are ground rules before you even get married, like why did you choose that person? So the Prophet ﷺ gave us the criteria, the religion, the mannerism, and so on. If these are already judged to be intact, then go for it. But what happens after the marriage is a whole different story. So may Allah protect us all.
Inshallah. Okay, Shaykh, we have some question about gender roles and modern struggles.
Gender role and modern struggles. Allahu Akbar. Bismillah.
Should women be expected to sacrifice more in marriage?
No, both partners need to sacrifice. It's a partnership. Marriage is you get together to share your interest, not to enforce one interest over the other. So both need to give and take.
Okay. Why is it okay for a man to be vulnerable with his wife?
All the time. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the Quran, "Hunna libasun lakum wa antum libasun lahun." They are your garments, and you too are their garments. And garments are the closest thing to your body. So you're the closest to your wife. So where and with whom will you be vulnerable except with your wife or with your husband? Yani, it goes both ways.
Yep. What's a man's role beyond just providing?
Protection, leadership till Jannah, inshallah, of course, and much more. Yeah.
Okay. Is it wrong for a wife to want more than just being a mother?
To want more than just being a...
Yeah.
What does she want to be? Yani, a cat or... Her role is a wife and a mother, so...
Yeah. Can you give it like...
What could be more?
You want to lead the family. You probably want to...
Lead family? No, thank you very much.
All
You
right.
have a leader already. How can two leaders lead the whole family?
Yeah.
Everyone has a role. And that doesn't diminish the status of women. We know already, we don't want to defend even this anymore, because the amount of ahadith that we have about how the Prophet ﷺ looked after his wives and how the Prophet ﷺ looked after his daughters is sufficient to prove that we have elevated the status of women when in a time where women were looked down upon. But we're saying that everyone has a different role and different responsibility. And when it comes to marital relationship, man takes the leadership.
What if the man is not equipped enough? Means that mentally...
Then you have married the wrong man.
All right. Okay. That's a great answer. That's
I mean, that
straightforward.
doesn't mean that this man also will not get married. But you train him, talk to him, educate him. These things are learnable. Like leadership, when I studied leadership myself, I was told that leadership is not something that you're born with. It's something that you enhance. So if someone is lacking these leadership qualities, learn them, practice them. But since you are a man, you are the leader of your family.
Okay. Can Islamic marriages work in the hyper-digital swipe left kind of world?
Can what, sorry?
Islamic marriages work in the hyper-digital and swipe left kind of world? Is that everything swipe left, right? I mean,
yes, they can work if you stay away from the digital, hyper-digital swipe left and right. I don't know what you just said. Yeah, it can work. It can work.
It can be adapted.
As long as you have limits, you have policies, you have boundaries. All these are important. Otherwise, everyone will be on his own.
Okay. So should couples post each other online or keep it private?
Keep it private. Keep it private.
How do you stay faithful in a world full of temptation?
Lower your gaze. Always be around your family. Remember the reward of serving them. Dua, of course, increasing your iman. The more you increase your iman, the more you work on your heart, the more you'll have more resistance against shaitanic ideas and temptations. No one is immune from falling into the trap of shaitan, but do your part and don't put yourself in a situation where you become more provoked by others. So avoid environments that are conducive or encouraging to haram activities. Otherwise, you will not be able to resist.
Okay. What does ghira look like in a healthy way?
It looked like this in a healthy way. Like, hey, be careful. Watch out.
Ghira means protective jealousy.
Yes. It means like if you see your husband talking to a sister, for example, you have a right as a wife to go and tell him, who is that sister?
Yeah.
But there is a difference between saying, who is that sister that you were talking to? And hey, tell me, who is that sister that you were talking to? You see the difference?
The same line, different tone.
Because it happens when the Prophet ﷺ entered Mecca after years of migration, he went back victorious. And he met the friend of Khadija, radiallahu anha, and they sat together. And the Prophet ﷺ even took his cloak and he spread it for this lady to sit with him. And they talk. But who was observing that conversation from afar? Aisha radiallahu anha, and she became jealous. Now, number one, Aisha radiallahu anha, despite the fact that she was super jealous, out of love for the Prophet ﷺ, she didn't go there while they were talking, confronting them, asking the Prophet ﷺ, who is that lady? And no, she waited until he went back home. When he went back home, she asked him, who was that lady that you were talking to? So you have that right. And you have also, and you must give the space to the man to explain himself, and vice versa. And it all goes vice versa. This is how healthy jealousy looks like in Islam.
There is a healthy
But doubting and throwing accusations without any solid evidence, that's haram in Islam.
So there is a healthy jealousy.
Absolutely. Aisha radiallahu anha is the best example.
Inshallah. All right. Okay. What makes a marriage spiritually successful? A marriage spiritually successful.
When your ibadah or your ibadat are not compromised at home. Whether you're cooking, there is a nice TV show, there are visitors coming, whatever the case may be. When you hear the adhan, everyone knows where to go. Where is the prayer mat or where is the masjid? And when ibadat are not compromised, this is a family that's spiritually successful.
Can marriage be an act of da'wah?
In a way, yes, marriage can be an act of da'wah for your kids, to educate them about how marriage looks like in the future for you, by becoming the good examples, of course, because the opposite can be also the true. And also for others who maybe have different perspectives of marriage or bad ideas about marriage and they don't want to get married. So when they look at your example, they start being encouraged to fulfill the part of the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, because he said, "An-nikahu min sunnati." Nikah or marriage is from my Sunnah or part of my lifestyle. So whosoever deviated from my lifestyle is not belong to me. So marriage is so essential. It protects society from corruption. So it could be a source of da'wah from that perspective.
What does loving for the sake of Allah really looks like in marriage?
When whatever you do for the sake of your beloved has no any internal or hidden agenda. Like you're doing it purely expecting nothing in return.
Should we prioritize deen or chemistry first in the spouse?
Deen. There is no question about it. Deen comes first.
Okay. What's your advice for couples building a business together?
Building?
A business together.
Don't work together.
Got it. How can you raise kids to love Islam without forcing it?
At one point, you need to force few rules and policies related to Islam. You can't just let them choose because they don't know really in the beginning of their life. They don't know what's right, what's wrong. And you have already gone through the experience and the knowledge that gives you the right to educate them. And so you do your best from the beginning to make things clear. That Salah must be performed on time. All these things may look from other people's perspective as forcing, but actually this is your role as a parent to influence them Islamically from day one. Otherwise, they will be left to the internet to influence them, and the ideologies will be like left and right. But education is number one. Like, teach them from day one what's the responsibility of them being Muslims, what are the obligations that they need to maintain and never to compromise, and so on. Yeah.
All right. How do you keep your family spiritually grounded in a busy world?
As I mentioned earlier, this is similar to a previous question, to never compromise ibadat, no matter what the dunya is offering us.
Okay. What's your favorite ayah and hadith about love?
About?
Love. I think you are good in this.
No, there is an ayah and there is hadith.
Okay.
So the hadith, the Prophet ﷺ said, لَمْ يُرَى لِلْمُتَحَابَّيْنِ مِثْلُ النِّكَاحِ. I do not know any relationship better than marriage for the two people who love each other. So love exists in Islam. Like, you must have some, appealing for one another before marriage, right? As for the ayah, is the most popular ayah that we recite always whenever we officiate weddings. وَمِنْ آيَاتِهِ أَنْ خَلَقَ لَكُم مِّنْ أَنفُسِكُمْ أَزْوَاجًا لِتَسْكُنُوا إِلَيْهَا وَجَعَلَ بَيْنَكُم مَّوَدَّةً وَرَحْمَةً. Everybody, I think, is familiar with this ayah, that among Allah's signs and miracles that He created from amongst you couples to dwell together in peace and harmony, and He created between yourselves love and mercy. So the element of love can never survive without the element of mercy, because mercy will sometimes come in to forgive those mistakes and all that. But if you build or you establish your entire family household upon emotions and love and the butterflies thing, then that house will crumble with the first biggest problem that you will encounter. And that's why mercy must uplift the relationship.
Can heartbreaks bring you closer to Allah?
Heartbreaks?
Yeah.
Wallahi, brother, it could be. Although it is highly encouraged for people to get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala without experiencing any drama in their lives, because this is why you were created for. But sometimes those who are not yet into practicing the deen, when they experience this loss, they tend to go back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And believe me, nothing fills the heart of the slave of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala better than getting closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So if you fill your heart with the love of Allah and His Messenger, there will be no heartbreak.
Yep. What's the legacy you hope your family will carry?
I'm praying that after we pass from this dunya, my children will spread the knowledge that we have left behind. And their progeny will continue on that until the Day of Judgment. Ameen ya Rabb.
One thing that you're working on this Hijri year as a husband or father.
For this new year?
Yeah.
No, I work every day, bro.
Is there any special?
I do not work for the New Year resolution or this kind of, because Islam is 24/7 job.
Yeah.
Islam should not be something to be practiced during seasonal or occasions that are popular, like Ramadan, Muharram that we're coming in. So I think that we should always remember that we should constantly worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala day in and day out, consistently. And when these bonuses come along, we seize those opportunities as well and escalate those doses of worship. So there is nothing specifically I'm working on for the new year, but I'm working every day on different things.
All right. Okay. What does the family that remembers Allah together looks like?
You see, they wake each other for Fajr or for Tahajjud if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gifted them with waking up during that beautiful time, by reading Quran together, by reminding each other of their obligations and so on. This is how a Muslim family look like.
Inshallah, that's great. Shaykh, do you want to order anything?
Brother, can I get one nice cappuccino to go? Please? Hot, of course. Brother, this is not a question. Cappuccino hot, inshallah.
Okay, Shaykh, last one.
Okay, bismillah.
Last one. Thank you so much for today's share. But we have a last one.
Yes.
What's your hope for the ummah in the new year?
I am praying day and night now that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will grant us the time to see a free Palestine. This is my ultimate hope for the ummah, is to see and to witness a free Palestine. Ameen.
Jazakumullah khairan, Shaykh. for the heartfelt
Baik.
answer and wisdom.
Baik.
And thank you so much for your time, giving it.
My
I'm
pleasure. That was fun.
disturbing your morning to get
That
a
was
coffee.
fun, putting me on the spot.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I'll see you again soon.
Inshallah.
Take
Ameen.
care.
Jazakallah khair.
Yeah,
Shukran.
thank you.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.